Hello, my name is Jean-Pierre Doyon, National Sales Manager at Doyon Equipment. This morning we'll review the CA12 oven, circle air oven built by Doyon. With the oven you should have received the owner's manual, and it was also sent by email, and it's also available on our website, which is www.doyon, D-O-Y-O-N as the name of the company, .qc.ca. This morning we'll review the install, how to operate the oven, and the features. So the install needs to be done by a certified electrician and a certified plumber for the water connection if you are going to be using the steam with the oven. The install should be 1 inch each sides back and 12 inches top. CA12 is already on casters. Make sure when it's in place you lock the two front casters. As far as operating the controls is very easy. We'll review each one by one. Okay, so this is the control on the right hand side of the oven. You have on top the timer, and then you have the temperature control, steam, on off fan delay, low and high speed, and the button to stop the rack inside the oven. So to turn the oven on, the international code 0 for off and 1 for on. So you turn this switch to your right, and that turns the oven on. The thermostat temperature control turns on, as well as the timer also turns on. The rack inside the oven starts to spin, and the lights turns on automatically. Once the oven is on, you go to your thermostat to set your desired temperature. Thermostat is also that thermometer, that logo. This button to your left, which has the arrow, this is switching between your set point. When the green light turns on above SP, which is set point, this is your set temperature, your desired temperature. Right now it's set for 400 degrees. To lower your temperature, you press on the down arrow. You can scroll one by one by touching one at a time, or you can hold it. If you hold it, it goes faster. So you can bring it down to, let's say, 340 degrees. And to bring the temperature up is this button. You can go one by one, or you can hold it. To go back to see what's the internal temperature, you press this button again. So right now the oven is heating up, and that's 121 degrees inside. The bottom arrow, which is lit, means that the actual temperature is lower than the set temperature. When it's at the right temperature, the mid green light turns on, meaning its temperature, and when the top arrow lets to red, it means that the inside temperature is higher than the set temperature. To set your timer, okay, by default it's set at 25 minutes. So each blue button with top and bottom arrow is aligned with the minutes, tenths of minutes, and fractions with the seconds. So if you wanted to set the timer, let's say at 12 minutes 30 seconds, you can start left or right. So we already have a 0 here. This is at 0. We can bring it up to 3, 30 seconds. 12 minutes, so 25 is too high. We can bring it down to a 1. This one, we bring it down to a 2. You can also go from 0 to 9 and 9 to 0. So now we have our set timer at 12 minutes 30 seconds. When you press the timer button here, okay, it activates the time that was already set. Press again for a reset. Brings you back to 12 minutes and 30 seconds. And then to start your timer, simply press on the button. When the timer is counted down, I'll show you by doing a quick 2 seconds. You'll hear the sound of the buzzer. To stop it, you press on it. That does not turn off the oven. It simply tells you that your time is counted down, but the oven still remains on. Right now we're heating up to 216 degrees. We'll come back to the steam. The high and low speed can be activated at any time. To bring it down to a lower velocity, you turn it down to the lower icon, and to bring it back to higher speed, to the top speed, to the number 2 speed, you simply switch it back to the top logo. This bottom button here at the bottom, where you see the logo of the rack spinning, if you press this button, that stops the rack system from rotating inside the oven. If you want to make the rack to rotate again, simply press back on the button. That activates the rack at spinning. And when you press on the button, it only stops at the right position, where you can take your pans in and out. You can remain the rack, stop, and continue baking, or you can load and unload. To open up the doors, you open the right one first, and the left one second. Because of the lip here, if you try to close this one first, it won't close. So you really need to close the left one first and this one second. And then once the doors are closed correctly, the rack starts spinning. As soon as you open the door, it stops the rack from rotating, and there's a fan switch cutoff at the bottom right corner, right down here. So that is the switch cutoff for the fan. If I press it, it would activate the fan, and by closing the door, this stainless steel bracket presses the button and activates the fan.